Good morning. My last saw of my Uncle Victor Charles Buono after he was playing in the last of the Marx Brothers Riders in 1978. And I met and stayed in Boyne City, Michigan for 4 years to 1982. I never thought he would ever pass away. But those 4 years, he and me, it brought us both to our ends. Victor Charles was performing in the Rita Moreno Show in the early days of May of 1978, and naturally starring Rita Moreno. He also was performing in the television program Flying High in the episode South by Southwest on July 18, 1978. On July 27, 1978, Victor Charles was in the stage production of Dracula, and he was playing in the role of Professor Van Heising at the Mansfield Playhouse. He commented, "I don't think that it is nostalgic. It is a darn good play, and it gets revived every so often. It's a good property. It will always scare people, and it will always make them laugh." On September 23, 1978, Victor Charles was performing in the television horror movie The Evil, and it was a huge stinker with him playing in the role of the devil. Needless to say, and kindly, it was another ghost from the past like the Strangler that almost buried his career in 1964. Victor Charles must have paid the IRS for him to perform in this career-busting turkey, The Evil. Luckily, he didn't go bankrupt from it, but he most likely didn't sleep comfortably for a week or two, and when praying he might have said, "Sleep me, dear Lord, and take away my refrigerator for a week or more, if I ever do this again." On August 13, 1978, Victor Charles was performing in the television miniseries Backstairs of the White House, and he was playing in the role of President William Howard Taft. He had a few words to share, saying, "Of the 8 presidents covered, I guess Taft was the hardest to write about. He was not exactly flamboyant, you know. The series set up the basic fact of each presidency. In Taft's case, it was that he didn't want the office, or he said he didn't. I can't believe a simple man or a simple circuit court judge that Taft was, at heart, really would let the presidency be thrust upon him unless he wanted it. Still, Taft was totally unimpressed by being in the White House. When dealing with a big man in a big office, you start looking for the flaws. With Taft, I couldn't find them. From my research, the only impressions I got were of a terrible loneliness and of a genuinely good human being." Victor Charles also spoke about his experience of acting in the motion picture The Greatest Story Ever Told, and his relationship with film director George Stevens, saying, "It was my first experience with Hollywood's Hollywood. We shot on location at Pyramid Lake, Nevada. They put us up in 140-foot trailers. They imported thousands of gallons of water, thousands of gallons of everything for the creature comforts of stars. Coming from the theater, it's lovely to be catered to and pampered, to live in that style you believe you richly deserve." Then he bounced over talking about his 1972 motion picture, The Wrath of God, starring Robert Mitchum, saying, "Making a filming with Mitchum anywhere is an experience, but doing one in Mexico is particularly memorable. Mitchum is loved there, like Napoleon was in Corsica. I remember Mitchum had a press conference and there must have been hundreds of Mexicans present. Bob had been griping about conditions on location, so someone asked him, 'What was your complaint about Mexico?' And without batting an eye, Mitch replied, 'Too many bleeping Mexicans.' They applauded him. If I had said it, they would have come after me with machetes." He then jumped into the memories of the Old Globe Theatre, saying, "My boy, just try not to play Caesar as Lewis Calhern played him. Lewis played Caesar as a kindly old English butler, and nobody wants to assassinate an English butler." Victor Charles was performing in the stage production Play with Fire at the Westwood Playhouse in Los Angeles on November 6, 1978. He was playing in the role of the Bishop of Prague. This production didn't go the way he wanted to go, and he said, "I wish I was the kind of actor who could leave the play at the stage door and get into the character at the makeup call. But for me, the play begins at 8:30 a.m. when I wake up." Both those plays, The Last of the Mars Brothers writers and Play with Fire, were world premieres. That means the plays are continually going through changes, and it takes quite a while into the run for things to settle down. It's an emotional whirlwind. Great care must be taken with a new product like this. For instance, he had to open 3 days ahead of time because several critics informed us that the date of Dracula's opening had been moved up and conflicted with ours. It made me furious that they preferred to review a road revival rather than an original playing, making it world debut. But angry outbursts like this more frequently turned on him than the critics. Having a temper like mine is like having a bad child. You must simply learn to live with it and make absolutely sure it doesn't go to the theater with you. Craig and Peggy took me in hand. They taught me what tools I had, what I needed to sharpen, and what never to do it again. I only wished I had listened more carefully. It was director Craig Null who encouraged Victor Charles to take the offer of playing in the motion picture of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. And he replied, "That was the first and last time I've ever given notice during a play rehearsal. When Craig learned of the offer, he insisted I take the part because he felt it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance." And that was the absolute truth of how Victor Charles became a Hollywood star.